Recently, I covered the best retirement matches in WWE history, and as I do with every best match, I have to follow it up with a worst match. So, these, in my opinion, are the top 5 worst retirement matches in WWE history. Number 5, Lita at Survivor Series 2006. It's so ironic that in the same year as longtime rival Trish Stratus had retired, in what was probably her best match, Lita retired wrestling Mickie James in what was possibly her worst match. Now, I'm not saying that the match wasn't good, because the match between Lita and Mickie James was good. It's what happened afterwards that left a poor taste in everyone's mouths. Following James's hard-fought victory, Crime Time came out announcing that there was a quote-unquote wholesale taking place and began auctioning off Lita's personal belongings. Rightly so, the WWE received a lot of criticism for this segment. Granted, Lita had played heel for quite a lot of the tail end of her career, mainly because of outside personal issues affecting the in-ring outcome of the character. But when the wrestler herself is not okay with a segment happening during the retirement match, and it still goes ahead, it's just not the right way for one of the most decorated female wrestlers at the time to have went out. Number 4, Kurt Angle v Baron Corbin at WrestleMania 35. Be honest, you guys knew this was coming. Kurt Angle is one of the most respected wrestlers of all time. Whether it be WWE, TNA, and the Olympics, you cannot deny that Kurt Angle is one of the most respected badasses in the history of pro wrestling. Even though he spent most of his career working outside WWE, the influence on the promotion meant that he was still loved by fans when he returned in 2017 following a very long absence. While injuries had taken their toll, he had wrestled a few matches on occasion, and a long-standing feud with Baron Corbin resulted in Angle choosing him as his final opponent in his retirement match at WrestleMania 35. The match itself was underwhelming and one of the weakest on the card, and I think it was underwhelming for another reason as well. We didn't want Baron Corbin being Angle's final opponent. It made sense that it was John Cena who should have retired a legend like Kurt Angle. Cena's first match was against Kurt Angle, so it had that type of symmetry that it should have been Cena that retired him. Number 3, Batista v Triple H at WrestleMania 35. What was it about this wrestling PLE with completely knackered retirement matches? Former Evolution teammates Batista and Triple H battled in a no-hold-barred match at WrestleMania 35. The stipulation was that if Triple H lost, he would have to retire from in-ring competition, but if he emerged victorious, he was allowed to continue wrestling. Well, for the time being. Batista had already announced that he'd retired from the industry soon after, leaving fans with one of the weakest matches on the night. This match was tough to sit through. It was one of the classic 25-minute snooze fests that the game was very well known for at this point in his career. It was stretched out, slow-paced, unnecessarily violent, and while it's fitting that Batista's former Evolution teammate retired him, the match itself was a massive disappointment. Number 2, John Bradshaw Layfield at WrestleMania 25. Going from an overlong, drawn-out snooze fest to one of the shortest retirement matches probably in WWE history, that clocked in at a measly 21 seconds. JBL was fighting Rey Mysterio for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. JBL of course kicked and punched Rey Mysterio down to the ground for a few seconds before the referee officially started the match, but once it was started, Mysterio surprised JBL quickly by executing a 619 before pinning him for a win in 21 seconds. Following the match, a frustrated JBL grabbed the microphone and proclaimed, "I quit," which to date has been JBL's last singles match as an active performer. I had recently defended John Bradshaw Layfield in our Should WWE Erase segment, saying that he was an effective heel during his singles run. And I stand by that. And it is eerily fitting that a 21-second loss should be the last match for a guy who wasn't seen in the best light by the WWE locker room. But 21 seconds to Rey Mysterio, really? Couldn't have done anything more than that. Number 1, Bret Hart on Raw 2011. Bret Hart's last official match was a tag match with John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez. By this point, Bret Hart had no business being in a WWE ring, or any ring for that matter. We all know about his infamous match with Bill Goldberg, we know about the Montreal Screwjob beforehand, So having him come back in 2010 for that sense of finality with the Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels stories and arcs felt like the right thing to do at the time. In hindsight, it has been one of the worst missteps in WWE history. The match with Vince McMahon, if you want to call it that, was a complete and utter shambles, with Hart having no business being in a ring considering the personal medical complications that he was having at the time, and not even Big Match John himself could carry what was quite frankly an absolute disaster of a match. Now, no one was expecting Bret Hart in 2011 to deliver a high-class match. Del Rio left Rodriguez to his own devices as he retreated to the locker room. Hart picked up the win as he applied the sharpshooter on Rodriguez, and the Canadian fans were delighted with this outcome as it was in Ottawa. But it just shouldn't have happened. It should never have existed, and it just puts a sour note on what has rightfully been a legendary career from the excellence of execution. And those are my top 5 worst retirement matches in WWE history. Let me know in the comments if there's any that I have missed, because I'm pretty sure that there are a plethora of retirement matches that I just did not want to get into. Thanks for watching, and until next time, good night.